All right, ready to be bored to tears tonight? Because this one isn't exciting. I apologize for that, but it is what it is. What we really want to talk about today is making sure you understand that if you're going to open a business, you have options, and more importantly, there's a variety of reasons people choose different types of companies. Some of the words that are bandied about: sole proprietorship, corporations, especially those kind of things. And so we want to make sure that you at least have a background information on the different types of ways business can organize. The most easy is what could happen simply from you deciding you're going to start mowing people's lawns in the summer. That's a sole proprietorship, which is any small business owned by a single person. So anyone can open a business. You simply hang a shingle out and say, well, this is what I do for a living. There's a lady who's a stay-at-home mother now who was formerly a elementary teacher, and she gives piano lessons. She didn't have to do anything legally. She just said, well, I'm a piano teacher. Please give me money to learn piano. Charlie will be going soon, I'm sure. 3 out of 5 fail. Why? Well, take a look at downtown Hastings. You drive through, all you see, this is the reality, along 55 and 61, and then down in old downtown is all of these shops that are closed. People have ideas, they think this would be a great idea. And then just the reality of competing and trying to make a profit make it difficult. There are advantages and disadvantages for each different type of business, and so I want to make sure we go through it. The first is that you are your own boss. A lot of people look at job satisfaction as far as how much control you have over your life. If you look at my room, when's the last time you saw a teacher come in and say, hey, Mr. Colvin, what are you doing today? Are you actually teaching? What have you been up to? And so that doesn't happen. So I have a lot of freedom. My direct supervisor, Mrs. Myers, doesn't know day to day what I'm teaching, but she just trusts that I'm doing the right thing. And then the rest of us work hard. This gives us a lot of freedom, liberty, and it makes us actually work harder because we want to do a good job. You can set your own hours. Well, obviously I don't get to do that, but if you own your own business, yeah, that's true to a lot of extent. You get to decide when you work. Now, depending on the type of business you have, if you don't work when you're supposed to, you're not going to succeed. If you're not open when customers want you, you're not going to keep any customers. And you get to take in all the profit. And this is one of the biggest motivators for people who open their own business, is that they want to work for themselves. If they're going to work hard, they want to get rich off it. They don't want somebody else to make all that money. Some of the disadvantages: if a business needs something, you have to pay for it. So if you decide you're going to open up a lawn care business and start mowing lawns in the summer, well, guess what? You have to buy the lawnmower. You have to buy the gas. You have to worry about all of those costs. If you just go work for somebody mowing lawns, well, you don't have to think about that. If the lawnmower breaks, well, it's not your problem. It's the owner's problem. You don't have to worry about losing money. This is called financial capital. See all this stuff here, money needed to run a business? Ignore that. That's what this really is. So it's financial capital. That's what we call the money you need in order to keep a business operating. Another disadvantage, and this is one of the biggest ones to me, is unlimited liability. There is no limit to how much money you can lose. If a business goes into debt, for example, many restaurants take out short-term loans, or they take out credit with the food vendors. So Cisco, they call up, they're going to order, we don't have enough money for all the supplies this week. We don't have the cash flow, so we're going to take credit. Or they go to the bank, get a short-term business loan so they can float through until they sell the product. Well, if you are a sole proprietor and you take out debt and the company goes bankrupt, you are responsible for that debt. There is no limit to how much money you can lose. Our next level up is a partnership. Obviously, if you start a business, let's say you're mowing lawns and you're doing really good, and then you have people that ask you stuff about like, well, hey, I know you know stuff about the lawn. Well, what about trees? What should I plant? Where should I plant? How do I take care of it? And you have no idea what to do? Well, a partnership is something you can form. So you call up your buddy who's taken a bunch of classes with D-Wall. I don't know if that means he knows a lot or not. I've never taken the class, but we'll just pretend it does. And so 2 or more people get together and open up a business. You say, hey, you come help me with the trees. I'm going to take care of the lawn care stuff. We'll work together. It ends with when one partner dies or if somebody wants to leave. But it's hard. It's a lot like a marriage. Advantages is you can raise more money. If I expand my business by bringing somebody else in, well, they're going to bring their financial capital with them. They're going to bring their leverage with them. I can add as many partners as I need. The more people we need to do the job, the more we can bring in. We see this a lot with law firms and dentist offices. Law firms, you'll notice, always have, Milovets and Associates. You have Schwabel, Getz, Sieben, and something or other. And so what we see is you see law firms that add other partners as their business grows. More people equals more skill. A lot of construction companies started this way. One guy was a roofer, one guy was a plumber, one guy was an electrician. Hey, let's stop hiring a general contractor. Let's just start our own house building company, and then we'll work together. The problem with this is it's a lot like marriage. It's a complex legal situation to get into because who's going to pay what percentage? What happens if this person can't work? How do we divide up the expenses? How do we divide up profits? Who's responsible for what? What if someone dies? All of these other things. And just like sole proprietorship, you have unlimited liability. So everyone in it can lose an unlimited amount of money. The most common, and the one you hear about all the time, are corporations. And I got to be honest, if I ever opened up a business, I would immediately incorporate. It's a little expensive to do it at first, not ridiculous, but it costs some money up front, but it gives you some distinct advantages. These are, again, the most common form of business. They are permanent organizations. For example, think about Walt Disney. He's been dead a long time, but Disney is still around and will be for, I can't imagine a time when Disney wouldn't. Coca-Cola, McDonald's, all of the founders of these corporations have passed on, but the corporation still exists. They are treated as an individual. In other words, corporations have rights and responsibilities. There are legal rights, legal protections they have, and there's also things we as citizens expect from them. And this is sometimes the hard thing because corporations have responsibilities to a variety of people. They need to make profit for their shareholders, the people who have invested in them. They are expected to be responsible citizens and not pollute, not create problems, follow all the laws, and they're expected to improve. Sorry, I just got a text message. Expected to improve their community, to hire, to give back, to give charitable donations. One of the biggest advantages to corporations and why I would personally do it is that you have limited liability. The corporation itself, since it's treated like an individual, not the individual owners, are responsible for debts. So if you open a restaurant and you have a corporation and you decide that you're going to take out a loan, or the corporation decides it's going to take out a loan and then the corporation goes bankrupt, you are not personally responsible for those business loans. It's easy to raise money. We do this in the form of selling stock. So my company gets big enough, I decide to sell shares of my company. Other people simply buy those shares. I now have that money to use to grow my company. Those shares represent a portion of my total company. What they get in return is profit paid in the form of dividends. So when the company makes money, if it makes enough, we pay back dividends. So we give that back to each owner. Disadvantages. At some point, you could have a very limited say in the company. When companies get very, very large, they become more and more complex in corporations, and so you have to answer to more people. They actually elect a board of directors. Every person that owns voting stock gets a vote, and you get a vote for every stock. And so then you can vote on who becomes in charge. In other words, if you are the majority owner in your company, but you only own 39%, but you're the largest shareholder, you get 39% of the votes, but the other 61% of the people could outvote you, and you end up with no say or almost no say in how to run the company, even though you own more than any single person. The directors choose executives to run the company, the CEO, CFO, all of these people. And so you could own 39% of a company and not get to say who is in charge of it. All right, pretty simple. Tried to keep it short and sweet. We will see you guys tomorrow.